Hey, everybody. Welcome to the AI Agent and Copilot podcast, where I get a chance to sit down with industry leaders and folks that are really kind of defining and pioneering markets here around what could be called the most disruptive thing since horses lost their jobs and, cars took over and engines took over, right? Today, I am thrilled to welcome Stephen James. He is the CEO of sa.global. I think many folks are familiar with sa.global, but boy, I'm thrilled to get a chance here to dive in a little bit. Hey, Stephen.
Hi, John.
So great to have you here. And Stephen, as we dive into this conversation, I think, as I mentioned, many are familiar with sa.global, but do me a favor. I don't know that everybody's familiar with where sa.global is today. Maybe spend a few minutes, if you could, and kind of define with us, hey, how has the business really evolved and what some of the big things are you're focused on?
Yeah, thanks very much for that, John. Yeah, we're on a journey, as the cliche goes, and if you think about our origins, we've been around for 34 years now, so we've been around quite some time, and we've been through many transformations. But I think the transformation we're going through now is by far the most exciting and the one that has the most potential. So our origins is as a classic systems integrator on the Dynamics platform. We started with F&O back in early 2000, but around about 5 years ago, we made a decision that we would become a hybrid ISV come systems integrator, and we made an acquisition of a product called Lexus One from LexisNexis, the big information company compete with Thomson Reuters. We bought that product, and what we did is to take a product which was fundamentally a legal only product, which was built on 2012 technology. It was back in that time, and we built a cloud solution on D365, which was able to run across every flavor of professional service organizations on a spectrum. You think about professional services, you've kind of got legal out here as being one of the more complex because of the specifics of ways that they do billing and so on. And then you might look at accounting as being the next, and then AEC, management consulting, advertising and media. They share a lot more in common than there are differences. So what we built is a layer, which is a kind of taxonomy layer. So if you're a law firm, instead of calling it a project, we call it a matter. Instead of calling it an invoice, we call it a bill. And we decided to focus the organization. Our plan is to become effectively a business which is based on recurring revenue and not on services. So we flipped the whole concept and we said, we want to use our services to generate recurring revenues on our platform. And we want to build solutions which are transformational for our clients. That don't just do the job, run, keep the plate spinning, but which deliver real business transformation value. Now, that's interesting, isn't it? Because if you think about what's happening now with the advent of all of this amazing explosion of tools and technology that are being delivered through the Microsoft platform and through all the other innovations that are happening, there's suddenly an opportunity to accelerate that vision through applying AI, right? And that is exactly what we've been really heavily focused on for the last year. How can we take these tools and accelerate that vision of building a platform that is transformational, that delivers transformational value in a very rapid time frame for our clients in the specific industries that we target, and through that build a much more sustainable and scalable partner model right? I have the phrase that I internally, I say that we are the employee and customer centric partner of the future. By partner of the future, I mean a partner that does not rely on selling hours to survive, and where the assets don't go up and down in the elevator every day, right? That's what I mean. And our target is to get to 60% recurring revenue. We're already at 50% now. And the potential now is to build something which is completely new in the Dynamics ecosystem, kind of hybrid ISV come systems integrator that's focused on transformational value, um, and that delivers in a very different way, right? What we're trying to do when we're delivering for our clients is to reduce the amount of hours that we spend as far as possible. That's the exact opposite of what many partners in our industry do. They're trying to maximize the number of hours. They exist through selling hours, and of course we still need to sell hours. We're not at the point now where we don't have to sell hours, but it's a different mindset that we're bringing to our client engagements, I think, versus many of our competitors. And the exciting thing is, how can we take these tools and technologies that have just exploded to bring that future state closer? Yeah.
So let's unpack that a little bit, because there's a few things in there, Stephen, that you mentioned that I think are very important to maybe elaborate on just a bit, right? So the first one is that whole partner builds its business on hours kind of a thing, right? Moving from that sort of a model to 50% to soon to be 60% recurring revenue models means that you're actually decreasing the amount of hours that it takes to get something done for a customer, so that their time to transformation actually happens faster, right? So that's a real key thing, because so many times we've been doing this stuff a little while, right? So we've seen this happen for a number of years, but so many times it's been, golly, from the setting the business requirements all the way to the go live kind of a thing for a big transformative kind of process. That's taken, could take months, could take quarters, could take years, right? To actually get there for an organization. One of the things that I think is so powerful is the return on that modernization that you're doing for your company or your transformation. If you can have that happen here as opposed to here, all of a sudden you're starting to do the transformative things, the powerful things that actually increase value for your company, increase value for your customers, that kind of thing. Am I hearing you right on that side? Like, that's really kind of a big part of the mission?
Yeah, correct. I think there's a paradigm shift. And if you think about ERP and the whole vision of ERP, it was exactly that. It was to be able to have an end-to-end view of what's happening in your business, and almost to have your levers and control the business, know what's coming, and steer and adjust and adapt. Of course, the reality is that ERP hasn't really delivered on that. Now it's delivered a lot of efficiency gains, operational gains, but I've been doing ERP projects for best part of 40 years, and ultimately they very rarely achieve the kind of lofty goals that are established at the beginning of the project, right? I think there's a paradigm shift now where the go live is not the end of the project. The go live in the modern paradigm is the start of the project. Which is exactly what you're saying. It's the start of when we can start to leverage the value, because that's when the cool stuff starts to happen. So anything we can do, right, to compress that time frame, get people on platform, because ultimately, here's the thing: these tools are very powerful, AI, Copilot, all of that, but there's a platform that's needed, right? It's almost a table stakes. And if you look at a lot of our clients, they have so many disparate systems, best of breed tools, and so on, to actually implement that and have the right security and have the right data approach and have that scalability. It's incredibly difficult to do. So if you get onto a single platform, not only a single platform that from a point of view, from a technical point of view, but a platform that's built specifically to solve the problems in your business in a best practice way, right? So that it does, those things out of the box. The way that we implement is completely different. Not for all of our clients, but we have a we have a implementation whereby we implement Dynamics for our clients, our evergreen product, and also our home builder product, based on a per user per month fee. We do not charge any implementation fees whatsoever. We don't charge any managed services. We don't charge any licenses. We just have a single per user per month fee. The client pays that per user per month fee, right? And we guarantee, based on a very detailed work breakdown structure, SOW, that they will be live, right, within 6 months with all of that functionality. Now, I don't know of another partner out there that's able to deliver an F&O project in six months, let alone one that has all of the functionality that you need to run your business end to end, from CRM right the way through to reporting, right the way through to all of your operational processes, the whole thing, soup to nuts. And we can only do that because of the investment that we've made on the ISV side of the business. We're almost 150 people working on the ISV side of the business, so that we can kind of, here's one I baked earlier type thing, right? We can bring that into the engagement, and instead of having this classic implementation approach where you say, here's the current processes as is, here's what the to-be looks like, what's the gap, classic waterfall. What we do is we take the client's data and we deploy an environment, a fully configured environment, and we say to the customer, okay, we're going to play back now how the system's going to work in your environment with your data. You tell me if that breaks your business or not. So we flip the entire paradigm. We flip it so that they're sitting there, and instead of, the problem always in ERP implementation is that there's a gap. There's a gap in understanding. There's a gap in understanding us as the partner, understanding the client's business. And there's a gap for the client understanding what the system will do. And where ERP projects go wrong is where there's a disconnect between those two things. We thought we understood what the client wanted. The client thought they understood what we were delivering. But guess what? We didn't kind of meet in the middle, right? If we're actually showing them what they're going to be using with the processes that they're going to be using with their own data, the chances of that disconnect, they aren't eliminated because human nature is what it is, right, John? But let's put it this way, they're significantly reduced. Yeah. And we can focus on what we're going to do after the project is live, right? And that's where the whole AI and Copilot and everything comes in. Yeah.
Well, and I think that's such a unique thing, and I want to make sure that everybody kind of tunes into this aspect, right? Because this is a big part of that fast forward or acceleration process, right, Stephen, that you're explaining. Because even just seeing this stuff in action, right, before it's fully deployed and that kind of thing, and asking the customer, hey, does this work for you? Is this going to break your business? Is this going to make things work? Now, as a customer, let's say I'm a C-level executive at a home builder, right, or something like that. Boy, now I'm starting to think about the discipline I play, the role I play as a discipline inside that organization. And I'm starting to think about how big is for this new environment that we're going to be in. So I am automatically thinking about new lines of value that I can be applying and getting creative within this environment to put this stuff to work for me before it's even in place. To your earlier point, that oftentimes wasn't happening until something was go live, right? That you've gone live with it. And then oftentimes by that point, I'm so tired, right? I'm so kind of exhausted by the process. And I'm like, I can't think anymore, right?
Yeah, correct. You're kind of beaten down, and people have. Here's the tough part, right? Those people who are involved in those ERP projects, they're not like us. That's our job. they've got day jobs to do, and this imposes a huge emotional and physical strain on them going through these projects, right? So anything we can do to reduce that, that's got to be a good thing, yeah. So that's about the implementation, that kind of paradigm shift. And if you think about it, those lofty goals of ERP, when Gartner came out with the whole concept of ERP back in the sort of late 80s, early 90s, suddenly with these tools and this concept of copilots and agents and the application of AI, you actually do have the ability to do that. That idea of having your hands on the levers and steering the business and anticipating and hyper automation and full end-to-end integration, that's a reality, right? That is going to be a reality. That's just a certainty that's going to happen. And if you listen to what Satch's been saying recently about CRUD databases and hyper automation and agentic futures, that's in his endearingly technical way. That's what he's talking about, right? So I think what it represents for us and for our clients and for our customers is a really transformational opportunity. And here's the thing, it's almost an imperative, right? We need to do this for the sake of our clients, but we need to do it for the sake of our business, because this introduces a lot of opportunity, but equally it introduces a lot of threats, right? So if for our clients and for us, if we do not adopt these tools, if we do not transform ourselves internally, and we move away from that traditional selling hours model, then we're already on the road to irrelevancy, right? And for our clients, if the guy down the street is going to do that, and they're going to be so much more competitive, that's a potential competitive threat to their business. So there's an imperative now, right? It's like the joke about the two guys and the lion, isn't it? And one says to the other, run. So why are you saying run? We're never going to run and outrun a lion. And the guy says, I haven't got to outrun a lion. I've got to outrun you, right? And that's what this is, right? It's about, the lion is there. The lion is real and we need to outrun it. And if we don't, we're going to be breakfast, right? And that's also the interesting thing now as well. And so that's why I'm really excited about this OiKO acquisition, because it's the missing piece of the jigsaw as far as our strategy and what we want to do for our clients.
So put a little bit more around that, Stephen, because I got introduced to the OiKO acquisition just a little while ago. Got to start getting an understanding of the level of IP and approach and significance that this organization brings to SA Global. But fill folks in a little bit here. What are some of the things you're most excited about with it?
First thing is the real world use cases and the client base that they have is just incredible. So it's like a corporate who's who. They have Heineken as a client, Honda as a client, Kimberly-Clark, Inchcape, AB InBev. The list goes on, right? And they've delivered transformative AI services to these clients over an extended period of time. So they've been in business for an awfully long time. And the other thing that I like about them is that they're very down to earth and pragmatic, and they come from an ERP background. So they were actually SAP implementers before. So they understand our industry. And when I talk to them, like I'm talking to you now, John, they get it straight away, right? The other thing that really excites me is that they've built a tool set and a methodology that allows them to turn around this stuff in incredibly short time frame. I can scarcely believe how quickly they can turn around this stuff. And the way that they do it is very pragmatic and very business focused. I sat in on a presentation that we did to one of our clients. I didn't mention that one of the other key platforms that we have is Home Builder One, which is for companies that build residential communities, residential homes primarily. And we actually build $13 billion worth of houses on that platform every year, which is pretty incredible. But that's actually very small compared to some of our competitors that are out there. So we're kind of the new kid on the block. Anyway, we're talking to this client, and we basically ran a workshop, okay? And we spent half a day. We had tech folks, we had finance folks, we had operation folks in the room. And in that entire half a day, we didn't mention Copilot or any kind of tool or technology. All we talked about is the problems they have in their business. Why do their houses get delayed, right? Why do they have struggles choosing the right subcontractors? Why, when they're building a home and something happens, like, I don't know, it rains, do they have trouble refiguring out the critical path, right? We talked about that, and we kind of said, well, would it be really cool if you had a tool that could do this? And they're like, yeah, wow, that would be really cool. That would be incredible. Do you think you can do that? And the answer is yes, we think we can do that. And we can come back to you in another week with a proof of concept, albeit at a high level, and we can show you how we can do that. And I was sitting there, and I was kind of fly on the wall, not saying very much because this isn't my area of expertise. And I was thinking, that's going to be a stretch, right? These guys are going to seriously turn around 3 very complex proof of concepts in a week, and they did it. They did it. They turned it around. We presented it last week, and we asked in that meeting, we asked if we were able to deliver this, or when we're able to deliver it, right? How much do you think that would represent in terms of savings for you annually? And they just like, I'm in and ahhing, and they did a kind of back of the envelope, but they said between $15 and $20 million annually, right?
It's real money.
Can you think about an ERP project where you could sit there and in a week say, I can save you $20 million?
I struggle to find one of those, Stephen.
Absolutely. And the license that they're paying is a fraction of that, right? So that, I mean, you couldn't have something which is more exciting than that. And that's what these guys have brought to the table, is the ability to have that kind of conversation. And of course, they're only able to do that because they've spent 25 years,
of course,
kind of apprenticeship.
Yeah.
Be able to know, it's that know-how, right? And we were talking earlier before we started the recording about how do you price something like that? Right? How do you price? How does that work? You can't price that according to the days it takes you to deliver that. You have to price according to the value that you're delivering. And that's what some of the big consultancies have been doing for years, right? McKinsey's and these kinds of guys. And so suddenly we humble Dynamics partners have the ability to do McKinsey type transformation, right? And we can do it. And guess what? McKinsey can't, because they don't have the platform, they don't have the tools, they don't have the IP. All they can do is come in with a flip chart and some fancy PowerPoints and start talking, right? We've got stuff here and now, and we can say with confidence that we can deliver it, and that's amazingly exciting, to be able to do that. So that's why I'm incredibly excited, and the reason why it's such a good combination is because we've got the platform, they need the platform, they've got the skills and they've built the tool sets to be able to deliver these proof of concepts in very short time frame. And then we're also going to work with them and our division in Portugal, which is called SA Global Labs, to build um, IP on top of our functional platform, which is a kind of semantic layer that will make it easier to build and leverage these algorithms in a really scalable and accurate way. So that's another thing that we're doing, is building that semantic layer using GraphRag technology to be able to make these algorithms much more accurate. Because, as we were saying before, it's fine if you've got a copilot that's going to reformat an email and send it out, right? But if you've got a copilot that's going to do all your raw material ordering for the next 3 months, you better be right. You know, even 95% or 99% is not good enough.
No.
It has to be 100% accurate. And that's why the challenge that we see now is that it's almost as though the tools are a solution looking for a problem, because I don't think that transformational AI can be delivered broad and shallow. I think you can deliver a lot of cool stuff, great productivity, and the benefits of Copilot and these autonomous agents are real, but they're really around productivity. They're not transformational. They can't be transformational because they just don't know enough about your business to do transformational stuff. What's missing is that deep knowledge of how everything interconnects in your business. We know that stuff. We can teach the tool that. And when we teach the tool that and we transfer that knowledge, the tool is not going to, generate random results or hallucinate, or there's, I can't say not, but the risk of it happening is significantly reduced. And then that opens up the ability to do things which are much more profound and much more transformational, which you can't really risk doing with just a generic copilot. So that's the difference. And if you look at a lot of the stuff that's coming out of Microsoft Research now, or some of the things that Charles Lamanna is saying, you can see that Microsoft's thinking is shifting in that direction.
Correct.
Right? They've brought people in and they're talking about industry copilots and so on. But it is so kind of still a bit sketchy how that is going to translate and how that is going to work. So yeah, it's incredibly interesting, John. It really is. I'm just so excited about the potential of this whole thing.
It's exciting. It's exhilarating. It truly is one of the first times, because living through the move from mainframes to client server, right? Living through the moves from client server to cloud, right? And then living through the mobile revolution, right? And all those sorts of things. They've all been very interesting. They've changed the way stuff gets done, right? They've changed the way we work and that kind of thing. But in this environment, what you're describing there, Stephen, is that depth of change, not just a sort of surface level change, right, to how things are happening. And that depth of change, sure, the tools can be put to work to make these things happen, but it's not about the tools. It's about the actual change the tools can enable within the context of how the business gets done. And then the other thing I think is so powerful, Stephen, about where you and SA Global are going here with this approach is that transformation, that change, right? That your organization go. You have the ability to redefine industry expectations, redefine your business expectations, redefine a whole bunch of those sorts of things, while at the same time that collection of algorithms within the context of the SA Global Cloud, right? That's actually enabling individuals in their own vertical industry to actually accelerate their decision making, which is an entirely different value that happens.
And put real dollars in the pockets. This stuff is quantifiable. You can say, you know, um, and that's where the sales needs to move away from feature and function and that old school, RFP and tick box. It's not about that anymore, right? It's about business value. And what we want to do is we want to sell on ROI. We want to sell based on, go talk to our previous customers. Those customers have seen that they've reduced the delays on building their homes on average by 25%. What would that mean to you, Mr. Customer, if you could reduce the delays that you have building your homes by 25%? Get the calculator out. Oh, that would be worth $10 million, right? Oh wow, well that's interesting, isn't it? So didn't we, shouldn't we get on platform and start saving that $10 million a year, right? So, and don't take my word for it. Go talk to the guys that are using the platform and that are seeing those results, right? And which we can quantify, and then it becomes, like a community where we are trying to build the best practice, the best, most powerful platform that makes our customers much more competitive than the other guys, right? We want to be the guys that are outrunning the lion, yeah,
Yeah.
and the lion's going to eat the other guys, right? So, in that sense, it's less about the competition. It's more about how can I differentiate myself and do more and better versus the other people who are doing the same thing as I do, right? Just do it better, do it faster, do it more consistently, do it with a higher quality, just deliver more value. And again, that's a very different discussion, because when I look at a lot of our competitors' websites and I look at a lot of stuff that comes out of Microsoft, well, it's a little too technical, right? It's hard for people to get their heads around this stuff. And when you're focused on a particular industry, you can talk the language of the client in a way that you can't very easily do when you're more generic. You're doing 20 different industries, or you're doing manufacturing, inverted commas. We know manufacturing is a broad church, right? There's so many different kinds of manufacturer. Can you really deliver transformative services across every kind of manufacturing company? I would say probably not, right? You need to make your bets and really go all in on a limited subset of types of organizations. And that's the bet that we've made here at sa.global.
It's an exciting bet, Stephen. It's it also, kind of back to your earlier point, as we kind of wrap this discussion up, I think it actually enables a redefinition of that engagement at the point of the customer, not only for the conversations and when proof of concepts can be put together and that type of thing. To your earlier points, those are all amazing. But it also shifts the discussion at the point of the customer for what we started the conversation with of, hey, are you buying hours or are you buying intelligence and answers, right? With how to redefine your business. And hours are kind of, like you use the term old school, right? Kind of an approach to doing this stuff. Intelligence and answers is really kind of an acceleration of the transformation of your business to be more competitive. And that's where I think, to your earlier point of, hey, it's 50% recurring revenue now, 60%, 70%, 80%, 90%. Well, if I'm subscribing, right, to answers, right? If I'm subscribing to systems of record that actually redefine the value that I'm delivering through to my customers, the value I'm delivering through to my shareholders, that kind of thing, that's an entirely different banana to peel than, hey, I need to implement this system to get my business running.
Yeah, and one of our taglines is that we want to build long-term, sticky, strategic relationships with our clients, right? And if we're delivering one-off ERP projects, we're not delivering that long-term strategic value. If you can save your customer $10 million, then that becomes a strategic conversation, and you're engaging at a different level with the client than if you're doing an ERP project where you may be engaging with, the IT guy, the ops guy, the CFO, but you're not really engaging with the board, with the CEO and so on. We want to move away from being seen as a technical supplier of niche services, more as a strategic partner in people's journey to excellence on the Microsoft industry cloud, and that's where the vision, the vision of the future is in taking this amazing stuff. The stuff that Microsoft has done is absolutely incredible, and if you can really understand customers' requirements and do that last mile functionality, the sky's the limit in terms of the types of value that you can deliver. That for me is the thing that is really, really exciting about this whole AI revolution. It is the ability to deliver transformational, and I don't think a lot of people out there are really delivering transformational AI right now. They might be doing some cool stuff and improving their managed services and cranking out stuff quicker and generating marketing content, faster. Are they really delivering transformational? If I look out there at the use cases, I don't see a lot of transformational stuff out there. So it's coming. People are going to be able to do it. But I think people have thought that the technology can probably do more than it can, and they've started to realize that there are limitations to that pure play Copilot approach, that we need a slightly different paradigm to deliver real value, and that's coming, right? Like I said, you look at what Microsoft Research is coming out with, and stuff that Charles is talking about. That's very much where Microsoft's head is going. So yeah, it's an amazing time to be in this industry, and I'm what am I now? I'm 62 now, pushing 63, and I feel like a school kid now, as far as all these tools and technologies. It's just really incredible, and that's what kind of gets you out of bed in the morning as a CEO, is to be able to go out there and do this kind of stuff and build these kinds of transformations.
I love it, Stephen, and boy, it gets me out of bed in the morning. Keeps me up sometimes at night too, right? But definitely gets me up in the morning to consider, how incredibly bright this future is that we have in front of us, if we are willing to lift our heads up and actually reimagine and rethink what's possible. And that's so much of what you've been describing here, the journey that sa.global is on, Stephen. So thank you for doing that. Thank you so much for being a part of the AI Agent and Copilot podcast here with us. I'm hoping Stephen is going to be able to join us in San Diego, everybody, from March 17th to 19th for the AI Agent and Copilot event that we're going to be doing, the summit event that we're going to be doing there at that point. And hopefully we'll see all of you there. Stephen, thanks so much for being a part of the program, my friend.
Thank you very much, John. Really appreciate the interactions and really appreciate the invite and the opportunity to talk to you today. It's been a blast, and look forward to connecting again later in March.
Look forward to it, my friend. All right, everybody. We'll see you next time. Thanks for tuning in.